"Places," the stage manager yells. That is your cue to be ready for the curtain and your entrance. As the house lights are dimmed, you can hear a hush fall over the audience, who eagerly await the performance. You wait in the wings, checking last-minute details and focusing on your character and your lines that you've spent months rehearsing. Such is formal theater. The improv activities you've previously been doing in class have served two purposes. Number one, they've trained your inner resources, teaching you how to better communicate on stage with your body and voice and with others. And two, they've prepared you to step into the formal process of theater with a flexible body, voice, and imagination that can respond to the demands of the play, director, and role. Like improv, formal theater is fun, and like improv, it has its own special set of rules that you need to know in order to work effectively within its boundaries. Let's take a look into the procedures and process of formal theater. The first step in the process of producing a show is to choose a play or musical to perform. The production chosen, especially when chosen for high school, takes on many considerations. It should be suitable for the community. You should have the available talent. Consider the budget, the equipment, and the stage on which you will be performing it. Every script performed requires that the performance group or theater obtain the rights or permission to do the show and also pay a royalty. A royalty is a payment that the producing organization makes to the publisher of the play or musical. This payment ensures that the playwright, as well as any lyricists or composers, get paid for their work. Once a show is chosen and rights are obtained to do that show, a director spends a great deal of time studying and analyzing the script. I personally start the process of analyzing a play months and months before I even hold auditions. In auditions, you may be asked to come with a prepared audition piece. More often than not, however, directors have you do a cold read, which is an audition scene that is not prepared in advance. After the initial auditions, most directors post callbacks. These are auditions reserved for actors whom the director wishes to hear and see again. You can assume that in any audition, a director or stage manager will provide you with an audition or casting sheet to fill out in advance of auditions. This will ask for actor information such as your experience and former roles, your height and hair color sometimes, your availability, and your contact information. At the beginning of auditions, the director often briefly discusses the play's plot, characters, and setting. However, some directors consider this the responsibility of the auditioning actor to read the show and analyze the characters for whom they are auditioning. Most community productions provide scripts that can be signed out with a deposit and read in advance so that you can familiarize yourself with a play or musical. Even if your director does not provide a script in advance, it's always my recommendation to find and read a script before auditioning for any show. But be aware, scripts aren't always easy to get your hands on, so when possible, plan in advance. Once you are in the auditioning room, there are some basic tips I think any auditioner should follow. Again, these are my personal preferences as a casting director, but most directors feel the same. The first is this: show confidence from the moment you walk in the room. The way in which you walk in the door, find your seat, wait, and take the stage are all indicators of your potential for success in the show. Remember, however, confidence is different than cockiness. Directors, like most people, don't prefer to work with someone who is cocky. Stay humble and teachable. Secondly, don't talk in the auditioning room unless spoken to by the director or stage manager. Remember, the director has a very difficult task and must remain hyper-focused throughout the audition process in order to make the best choices for a show. Distractions become irritating and can also give the director an idea of ways in which you will become a distraction during the rehearsal process as well. Thirdly, show respect for the director and his or her entire team. Again, the way you treat others in the audition process is a future indicator of how you will treat others in a rehearsal process. Show respect, but don't kiss up. Never apologize for your work. Whether you have a cold, you mess up, or you don't feel the best about your audition, do not make excuses or apologize. Simply take ownership for your performance and do the best you can. Remember, theater is a live art form, and because of that, sometimes mistakes are made. If you make a mistake, consider it your ally. Recover well, and send a message to the director that you can handle performance, even when a mistake is made. Also, remember that directors are trained and experienced in seeing talent, and more importantly, potential. Trust me, a flub up in words is not going to derail a good director's ability to evaluate your true potential. My fifth tip, and this one's important, is listen. Is there something that a director wants that another actor isn't giving him or her? Even when you aren't on stage auditioning, listen to and watch the process closely so that you can determine what the director truly wants by the time it's your turn. However, be sure not to copy another actor. Directors generally want to see an actor that brings something fresh or real to the role, not someone who simply copies the auditioner before him or her, even if they're good. My sixth suggestion is don't wear a full costume. It comes off as weird in an audition space and truthfully, a bit desperate. It is the costumer's job along with the director to make decisions on costumes, so don't take it into your own hands. In any audition, be sure to have your hair off your face and make sure that you wear noiseless shoes and comfortable clothing in which you can move, especially if you're auditioning for a musical. Equally awkward to wearing a full costume is looking the director right in the eye or standing too close to him or her. If you're performing a monologue, choose a focus point that is not on the director. Directors need to see you do your work. You don't need to see them doing theirs. So focus your energy toward the director, but not directly on him or her. Tip number 8. Now this is a useful tip when auditioning with other scene partners. When auditioning, use your thumb at the side of your script to keep your place. This way you can look up when needed without losing your place, and it also gives you the opportunity to actually look up rather than remaining buried in your script the whole time. And finally, understand that sometimes not receiving a role has absolutely nothing to do with your talent. Perhaps the director was looking for a certain body or hair type, or a particular height or facial features. These are all things you can do little about. Any show can be cast a million different ways. It simply depends on the director and which way he or she chooses to go with his or her interpretation of the characters in the script. If you are not cast, or you're not cast in the role you desire, don't be a diva. The way you handle every role sends a powerful message to any director. Those who accept roles, or the fact that they did not get a role that they expected, with grace and dignity, are actors any director would love to see again. In formal theater, once auditions are over and a show is cast, backstage technical and house crews are formed and managed. Many teams come together for the success of the show besides just the actors. Production meetings are held without the actors. These meetings include the show's director as well as the technical director, costume designer, set designer, lighting designer, and choreographer, or even makeup artist if applicable. At these meetings, the director shares with the producing team the production's concept and their vision for the show, as well as any specific considerations that the designers should know about. Changes in concept, script cuts, and any additional technical requirements, along with budgets, are discussed at the production meeting. The designers then use this information to create the design for the entire show. This process works best through collaboration, with each expert consulting the others while working to their full potential. While designers are all doing their jobs, the cast is rehearsing the production with their director and stage manager. Generally, the director has broken the script into smaller rehearsal units and provides the cast with a rehearsal calendar for the entire rehearsal process. The first rehearsal is often a table read, where the cast reads the entire script together around a table, each actor reading his or her role. Then the director begins blocking rehearsal, where he or she gives actors their blocking in each scene. Off-book rehearsals, where actors must have their lines memorized. Run-throughs, where full acts are rehearsed, and technical rehearsals, where all technical aspects of the production are rehearsed on stage and with the actors. By the time the show is done with dress rehearsals, which are the final rehearsals in which all aspects of the show are completed, hair, makeup, costumes, tech, etc., a curtain call or final bow is rehearsed, and the director's job is done. Then the stage manager takes over, and the stage manager is fully in charge of the production, calling every cue and taking care of any problem presented on or backstage. Each night, actors have a call time at which they must arrive to the theater and begin getting ready for the show. Oftentimes, actors must sign in at a call board and read any of the stage manager's announcements for that night, which are also posted on the same board. The stage manager also does any warm-ups with the actors that they are required to do and makes sure all crews are present and doing their jobs, such as making sure all the props are set for that night's show. The stage manager calls half hour to places, all the way down to 5 minutes to places, and finally, places. The house lights dim, and the show begins. From auditions to performance, a stage production is a complex, living, breathing creation. While improv is thrilling in its own way, producing a scripted show is thrilling in a totally different way. Where once there is nothing, literally nothing but an empty stage, something beautiful is created when a show comes to life. This is the process of formal theater. From nothing to something, from silence to story, from individualism to collaboration. As we continue to learn about this process through analysis and experience, may you find your improv skills useful in creating powerful scripted performances. Here's to a great run.